All right, welcome in. Good afternoon, morning, wherever you may be on the planet. Hopefully your weekend was fantastic in the betting world as we welcome you into the Monday edition of the Awesemo Betting Show on the Awesemo Odds channel. Myself, Ben Rasa, Mike is in the house producing, and you just leave a thumbs up and subscribe, of course, to the Awesemo Odds channel. But we do something a little different here is we need something from you on top of all that, which is your lock it up, the strong play, the confidence play, maybe Monday night, maybe a look ahead line. I know that there are going to be some college plays already here, but we have to look back and we have to look ahead to Monday night and anything else that might be worthy of our vision coming up this week. Ben Rasa, always a pleasure. Good weekend so far into Monday night.
So interesting week. It's all about kind of ebbs.
I know how it went, so I know exactly.
But no, the truth is I just did, my personal accounting, you could say, for what I did. And it was basically a break-even week, and it feels terrible because I was rolling. Yes. Early Saturday, Michigan got there. The under in LSU was a laugher. Two of my favorites, Kent State, rattled off SMU on Thursday or Friday. And it got to late in the day, and Air Force absolutely crushed me. The Eagles yesterday was disappointing. The Giants was a good one. I really liked them against Carolina, but it felt like I left some on the table. But at the end of the day, that's the order of operations. So we were able to get in. Miles Sanders going down really hurt. I had the over on his rushing prop. Nothing you can do about that. But you know what? We got one game left on the schedule here, a really interesting Saints-Seahawks game tonight. What did you make of the weekend? Any big takeaways from your vantage point?
College was a little up and down, I think, to say the least. And it was more, I think, of a break even. Live betting helped me a lot. And I was mentioning to you and Lofty on our Slack here about the Penn State live total at 30. I was sweating that out. 9 overtimes, all right? I'm riding an in-game ticket of 38.5, under 38.5. And I watched those 2-point conversions bring me right up to 38. And thankfully, that was it. That was enough.
It was bizarro world. I mean,
they have to change that rule.
It was really crazy. The 2-point conversions back and forth. Yeah, I mean, listen, we were able to take advantage. And that's why, not to plug something super early in the show, but betting you the podcast on Wednesday night that me and Matt Kajeski do, capturing those lines early made a huge difference for me. Able to jump on Michigan at a good number and a couple others. And all in all, like I said, I really can't complain. It's been I don't know even if it's an issue per se, but I was going through again, just to give people a little insight into, people ask me all the time, like, what do you do on a personal basis with some of your bets? And I know for me, I keep it pretty flat, but I've had 3 or 4 multi-unit plays in the last 2 weeks, and I'm 0 for 4 on them. And so to be even with that happening, it does feel kind of like a positive, but at the same time, it is frustrating that I seem to be isolating the wrong games. So we're going to try to correct that today.
Let's do it tonight. You're right. And on Sunday, talk about self-correcting. The Bengals, which we on this show,
my goodness,
all over that from last Monday, Ben. And then the Colts last night, another big one.
In the hurricane, the under, I mean, this is something, of course, we couldn't give out on the show because I didn't even know it was going to rain. But the under 3.5 field goals made last night was, to me, one of the strongest bets ever, because to think that they were going to make 4 field goals in that weather was impossible. They did make 3, so I actually had to sweat it out, but that did get there. And can we just say, you gave out the Bengals early on the show. Jamar Chase is going, barring something unforeseen, Jamar Chase is absolutely unstoppable. It seems like Rookie of the Year is almost a foregone conclusion at this point.
I was talking about this on my show just before this here, and if he got injured and didn't play another game, I think you're still sweating out the award. Like, I don't think it's guaranteed that it's going to go to Mac Jones or Najee Harris by any means.
No, Trevor Lawrence has been up and down at best. Obviously, Justin Fields had, I think, 6 turnovers yesterday.
He's out of the running. He's
seem like that's the catalyst for it. I don't know who else. Jamar Chase is a true game changer. This guy is unbelievable. He cashes his longest receptions prop every week, which we appreciate on this show. But Bengals might be for real. Pretty crazy.
Yes, they are. First place atop their division. Cardinals also first place atop their division. But you mentioned we've got one more game tonight. We'll take all your lock it ups as well out there. I see Bloomfield already hanging in there. I'm waiting for a Shelton play. I think that he reacted to your tweet about Kentucky as well, right?
We're going to talk about Kentucky later in the show, but yeah, I mean that's a wild one in itself. But yeah, I'm excited for this game tonight. It's a weird Monday Night Football game. Two teams that on paper it's like, oh, elite teams, but are they? Honestly, you dig in and neither of these teams seem to be that good, honestly.
So there's one thing, and let's look at the game itself, because we always try to build a narrative, a game script, a flow, if you will. There's one thing that I think is constant no matter what we look at with both of these teams, and that's the Saints' run defense. Like, that's the one thing coming into this football game, Ben Rasa, that I know I can trust, which is the Saints' run defense is going to make it really tough for Alex Collins and the Seahawks to move the ball on the ground, which, again, forces what should be more looks, more passes for Geno, which is just a higher propensity of a mistake. So I'm going to shock you while you lead with your favorite play. I'm going to shock you here right away. I don't have a play on a side or a total when it comes to the game. I've got little juicy stuff, but I don't have a side or a play on this because there's so much I don't know, like from a volatility standpoint, I can't trust.
I'm more with you than not. When this spread opened, kind of felt like, okay, maybe Seahawks lean there, but the more we dug into it, the more I dug into it, the teams are getting a little healthier, particularly the Saints, though. They're getting Lattimore back. They're getting some pieces. I kind of worry about what Seattle's going to be able to do here. And I think it's reflected in the total as well, 41.5 over on BetMGM. It just seems like a pretty fair number. I don't know how I'm going to lean under there. I don't particularly want to go over because I think both teams might struggle. And really the player props tell the story. You've got quarterback lines. I don't know. I mean, they're pretty pedestrian when you look at the potential outputs from these guys. So for me, I think that the Saints are trending towards the side that I would back just by a product of they seem more intact. They've got Jameis, they've got Kamara. And I think the secondary for them is maybe primed to cause more problems than the other way around.
So building off of that, the only real play it sounds like you have, or the confidence would be going under, or the Saints laying the
I think this, if I don't really want to mess around with this total. It feels about right to me.
Yeah,
I think I do lean to the Saints though. Again, it's just a product of Seattle's defense. They're giving up a ton of production, ton of yards. They're really not doing anything fantastic. 23rd in opponents' yards per passing attempt, 20th in opponents' yards per rushing attempt. It's just not a lot going on there. So for me, it seems like even though they're going into a very difficult place to play, I think the Saints are more intact, more put together. I think we'll kind of see that tonight.
So let me give you my favorite play. And I do see Bloomfield bringing up. Don't think I forgot, Ben, how you and Lofty chastised, laughed, ridiculed me for my Chiefs not to make the playoffs bet at plus 400 a couple of weeks ago. Don't think I forgot about that one.
They have serious problems.
It's pretty bad. It's so bad in Kansas City right now. And Mahomes is pedestrian right now at best. So let me give you my favorite play here. And I've locked this in. Notice I said I've locked it in, but I haven't locked it up. No. This is not me locking anything up right now. But my favorite play to go on what I think I can trust, which is a little bit more of, I guess, a manageable play for me than taking the Saints laying 4, is going under 17.5 team total for the Seahawks. That's a number that I just don't see Seattle getting to as many times as I run scenarios through here, especially with the run game being taken out and more emphasis on Geno Smith. So that's my favorite play across the board, is to go under Seattle's team total.
No, again, I have no problem with that. I think Metcalf, not that he's going to be taken out by any stretch, but he's going to have to deal with a much better Saints secondary. They're also getting back Traquan Smith, it looks like. So they're getting some weapons. Geno, I was interested to see, obviously comes in relief. He almost heroed that game against the Rams. Against Pittsburgh, the thing that I thought we might see is a little more dual threat ability. He ran it once for -1 yards. He didn't even attempt to really do much. He was fine, 23 of 32 for 209 and 1, but that's not winning games. It's just simply not losing games. And now when you mention this, the Seattle backfield, it's not a great situation there. I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to do. And again, the Saints, they're up there with Tampa Bay. You simply can't run on them. They're allowing 3.3 yards per rushing attempt. It's number 1 in the NFL. So I think a lot falls on Geno Smith tonight. I don't think he's going to be terrible, but I also don't know if I trust him to be throwing two or more touchdowns tonight. And I think he needs to.
Yeah, and that's why I would much rather fade that reality and go under the 17.5. And look, I still have that field goal locked in there. You get the 2 touchdowns. I still have that field goal, that room, which a lot of that math we play out on the first half totals. Here's one to think about. It's one to think about. It's a long shot bet, but I recognize that there is a game script that can get you to this. And at plus 2,000, if it's a half a unit, a quarter unit, what have you, I think it's worth a look. All right. I didn't lock it in yet, but I think it's worth a look. Saints to win in a shutout is plus 2,000.
Saints to win in the shutout. Well, I think if they shut him out, the win will take care of himself. So, yeah, I mean, 20-1 for the Seahawks to put up the goose egg. That's what you're telling me here?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the other day you had something way crazier than that. So we're getting at least in the ballpark.
Yeah, I had no touchdowns.
Yeah, that's never
never
happening. Get me another scoreagami, which did happen.
Which we did, yes.
31-5. That'll never happen again. I mean, I think it just speaks to, obviously that's, extremely aggressive, but I do think there are scenarios where you got to ask yourself, you talked about the team total. Let's just break it down logically. Okay. If they're going to get, 17 to 20 plus points, where's it coming from? Is Jameis going to turn the ball over? Is that what you're banking on? Or is Seattle going to manufacture a drive? How are they going to do that? Because right now, when I look at this team, you've got a backfield that's very, very banged up in Alex Collins. Obviously, Russell Wilson is not there. Metcalf is going to draw a pretty tough matchup. You've got Tyler Lockett. You've got Everett hasn't been a big thing. Disley, where is it coming from? How are they exactly going to attack this Saints defense? So I think that both offenses have some problems, but to me, the difference is one team has Alvin Kamara and the other team simply does not.
That's a great way to look at it, by all means. All right. Is there anything else? I've got a sneaky play here, and it's not a player prop. It's not necessarily a side or a total, but it's kind of banking on Seattle. And again, this entire game flow of Seattle's offense struggling, right? I mean, that's kind of what both of us, I feel like, are predicating a lot of what we're talking about on. So it stands to reason that drives are going to get cut short before you get to the red zone, more often than not for Seattle, a team that we're both fading here. Over 44.5 longest field goal. I'm going to bank that Seattle. Now, look, if it's coming from New Orleans, then that's a bonus. But I'm just looking at it from Seattle's standpoint and basically saying anything I can get from the Saints is a bonus. But chances are that Seattle is going to be, just because of their ineptitude, is going to be in a position to kick a 45 to 49-yard field goal as opposed to just be living in the Saints' red zone.
I get where you're going there. The couple things. One, keep an eye. It is Seattle. Keep an eye on the weather. It could be. I don't ideally like my kickers kicking in rain, of course.
Well, you mentioned that last night, right?
I mean, that was biblical. So like, I don't, that was insane. I've never seen weather like that, to be honest. It really changed the entire game. Seattle's a team that at times they fluctuate between wildly aggressive and extremely conservative. So, when you get in those situations, you need a coach that's going to be willing to let your kicker have opportunities. But Jason Myers, he hasn't had a ton of opportunities. He's been fine right now. I mean, I don't think this means much. They've only played a couple of home games, so there's not a ton to draw right now from that. I think your narrative at least is on base in the sense that I think the Saints have a serious advantage as they shrink inside the red zone. You're not going to be able to run. Geno Smith's going to have to make some type of plays. And I think Lockett is the one guy that has the advantage. Metcalf is a great player, but he's going to be drawing a great player. And other than that, I think the Saints have the advantage across the board.
All right, let's look at a couple of player props here. A good reminder, hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed, of course, to what we're building on the Awesemo Odds channel.
Almost
BetMGM.
2,000, almost 2,000 subs here. We are only a couple dozen
That's
away.
so
So
cool, man.
be part of it. Help us get over that threshold. Very, very exciting. When we do that, we're going to have some special things planned for the channel.
I can't wait for that. Hopefully I'm
It's
a
gonna
part of it. You know,
We're doing it by Halloween. That has been my goal the whole time. And you guys
Halloween?
have been amazing to do it. And we are gaining subs fast and furious. It's really, really cool to say.
That's amazing. So again, hit that subscribe button. You thought, oh, I'll put it off now. You realize you could be part of something special. So hit that button. And also we have a link, 2 links really below. We have a crazy 50% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum with the promo code Curry. And it's the last day or two today. So make sure you jump in Curry on that link. And then below, this is what we've been telling you about every single show here, is BetMGM is powering with the odds. Click that link, sign up when you make your first deposit, and bet on BetMGM. You're going to get 3 free months of Awesemo Plus Platinum. So if you game this right, you can get 50% off your first week after your first 3 months are free. That's pretty damn good right there.
And
yes,
and
there's more.
There's more. So as we've talked about, BetMGM, they're allowing you a risk-free bet of up to $1,000 with that deposit. So if you get on there, you're gonna have the luxury of taking a big shot. If you lose, you're gonna get it back in free bets. You're also gonna get those 3 months. So if you're looking to say, people always ask us, what's the biggest edge? It might not be the most interesting to talk about. Honestly, the biggest edge is taking advantage of promos out there. There's a ton of them. This is one of the best. So start there and then build up your bankroll that way. You're saving a ton of money right off the bat.
I can't wait for something we're going to do after player props. It's probably all connected anyway. Where we're going to go to Odd Shopper and specifically shop. Anybody that's online shop now, addicted to it because we've been home for the last 2 years, it feels like 20. This is the perfect way in the world of sports betting. So let's look at player props. We'll go shopping as well. We'll lock it up before we get out of here. I did see Kevin Bloomfield reference that -3.5 Wisconsin line. Well, you're not going to trust that quarterback, are you?
I don't know those teams. I'm pouting because as I told you a million times, that Iowa was no good, and then they finally lost to a team the 1 week. I did not short them, so now the books have realized that I was no good, and I'm a little surprised to see it that drastic. But we'll talk about all of it and more this week, no doubt about it.
Okay, just making sure that we can get some Wisconsin love on the Thursday show, by all means. Eric Lindquist, Oregon ISU, money line. Wow.
Yeah, last week that was.
Where was that bet? Did he give that bet out on Thursday's show? You can't just come in here and pat your own back out of nowhere, right?
I will say, he was at the game. And that's why you want to hop in our Discord. Really good things going on the Awesemo Discord. Friend of the show was there. I was on Iowa State. I didn't touch the Oregon game, but it was good to see Oklahoma State finally go down, even though they did cover.
Did not cover. Yes, Oklahoma State, they still cover. Now, you were just mad because of what happened last week with Texas. So you had some grudge with Oklahoma State.
Well, Oklahoma almost lost as 40-point underdogs on Saturday. That was another. Thank God I didn't bet that game, because if you lose to Kansas, that's truly unforgivable. But tonight, player prop world, is there one that you're focused in? I did the breakfast menu this morning with Matt Kajeski. We talked about a couple that I want to run by you, but where do you see your eyes focused for the player prop market?
Okay, so I'm looking at this game, and the first thing that came out that I actually thought, but then I see our Odd Shopper / Awesemo projections are counter to this. Now, to be fair, it's moved up 1, and it's juiced to the under. But I don't think that – well, actually, wait a second. It's completions, not attempts. I'm sorry. No, it's attempts, not completions. Completions is what we have on Odd Shopper and Awesemo. Attempts. I just don't see 26, 27 attempts for Jameis Winston. If I look at the game flow again, where the Saints are going to be up and probably comfortably up, this is a 22 to 23 attempts game where Winston does enough, doesn't mess up, probably has a touchdown or 2, but it doesn't seem like this is a heavy throw game, especially if we get that weather that people are anticipating in Seattle. So just looking across the board, I feel like everybody's going to play these Geno props up and down because it's Geno. I saw that and I thought, you know what? That's at least one or two attempts too high for me. So especially if I can get good numbers on the under, I would go under 25.5.
I mean, I'm not overly surprised by this because the Saints are favorite, but if you want to look at passing attempts, you've got Jameis at that number. Geno Smith is a couple attempts higher. He's at 30.5. So it does show that maybe the books are saying, and they are a 4-point favorite, that Saints take that lead and they force Seattle to maybe open it up a little more than we anticipated. I'm going to just get into it with the guys that I think have a chance to make an impact. Unfortunately, some of these are juiced. Tyler Lockett would be one of them. 3.5 receptions. I do think you're going to clear that pretty comfortably tonight. Him and Geno were not super efficient. He did have 7 targets in that game, though, only had 2 catches. I think tonight we see a little more, the ADOT reduce a bit and the completion percentage go up a bit. So I like him. Kamara's prop. This is interesting. It was 3.5 this morning in terms of receptions. It's now up to 4.5. So that's something that I do think the books are taking notice of. Over 4.5 receptions for Alvin Kamara tonight, plus 120. So if you want to roll the dice, you get slight plus money there. Do you think he can be that big a factor in the passing game? I think the answer is probably yes.
Over for Lockett, though, is juice to high hell. You don't have a problem there, right?
I don't. I mean, I think that if Geno Smith is going to throw the ball upwards of 30 times tonight, to me, there's a real chance that Lockett flirts with a 33% target share and he has 10, upwards of 10 targets because Metcalf is going to draw Lattimore. Who else is really going to make a massive impact on this offense? I really look, it's got to be Lockett in some regard. So with the lack of running potential against a team like the Saints, I think they're really going to have to push the envelope there. And that could equate to a couple extra targets. I think he does clear it. I don't love the juice though.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. The juice is a tough swallow, but at the same time, it's a low number.
It is very low.
And here's another thing too. I'm with you. I think that if there's anybody that can benefit tonight from a bounce back on Seattle's side, it would. Now look, Alex Collins not rushing for 100 yards against the Saints defense. I'm pretty confident in that. But I'm with you. Tyler Lockett, I think, is poised to have a at least better night than we saw with Geno, but probably a decent to good. I was hesitant to say good, but better than DK Metcalf. I could see the Saints trying to take one guy out and it being more Metcalf than Lockett, and Lockett being hit with, as you mentioned, targets enough to go over that receptions number. So I'm going to go to our favorite market size here and look at Lockett's longest reception. It's under 20 yards. It's under 20 yards. I feel like anything under 20 yards for Tyler Lockett should be a play for over longest reception because we know that even it's a backup quarterback, Ben, he's going to be looked and thrown at downfield.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I did use that to factor in a little bit the over 3.5 because I do think Lockett traditionally is really more over the top. But with Geno Smith, they may, get him involved in a little more higher percentage targets and whatnot, maybe lower the ADOT. It's not to say that he can't clear 19.5. I mean, it's not like the ball has to travel 20 yards. It just needs to end there. So I don't think catch and runs are out of the question. Lockett's still going to have downfield targets. Don't get me wrong. So I have no problem there. It's funny. We talked about this a little earlier. Geno Smith's rushing prop is at 14.5. I know that he can do it, but against Pittsburgh, he had no interest in running whatsoever. Again, he had 1 carry for -1 yards. We're going to have to see him much more active on the ground tonight if he hopes to get 15 or more yards against this Saints front.
So I saw Jameis drop from 19.5 to 18.5. I'm inclined to go under on both of these guys.
Jameis, the value with Jameis, I think, has been negated. Early in the year, it was like 9 yards, 10 yards for a couple weeks. People took advantage in week 1 and week 2. The books adjusted. You say, you know what? I'm going to take my winnings and I'm going to go elsewhere. I think Jameis is a complete pass for me tonight. If I had to bet it, I would go under. I think the books have overreacted to that line already.
So you think it's just sharp line tonight?
I think it's about fair. I think that there's a couple quarterbacks that you identified early, whether it was Trevor Lawrence or Jameis, even Carson Wentz to an extent. And the books have caught up naturally. That's what they do. It's 7 weeks into the season. You're not going to find these guys sitting at over under 8.5 yards, 9.5 yards. It's 16, 17, 18, as we see tonight with Jameis. That's a totally different situation for me. It's not like he can't do it, but I don't think you're extracting any value if you go over. It's not like you can't win the bet, but you're not trying to just win the bet. You need to create value for yourself.
I'm with you. I think both quarterbacks are underplays when it comes to running the football tonight. Yeah, and that's what I meant as far as it being too sharp to go under. But yes, these numbers are too high in general, and I agree with you to go over by all means. See a couple of people here from Shelton telling us to lock up the Lions plus 3.5. And the Terps, Bloomfield under 14.5.
I was really disappointed by the Eagles. I liked them quite a bit yesterday. They went down the field and everything good happened. And then Miles Sanders got hurt. And apparently that set off a chain reaction because the next thing I knew, Foster Moreau turned into Gronk plus Waller plus Kelsey. And you guys had absolutely no answer.
Ben, the Raiders backups got more than the Eagles starters.
Did you see that Rager catch though? Come on now. This guy, you know, they got that talent.
Yes, but he still is in the 30s. And I had to send it to you because I didn't think you would believe it. Again, every week under Jalen Rager receiving yards until you lose it. Until the books take him off the damn board, pound his under receiving yards. I can't wait for the day where he goes 6, a $120, and 2 touchdowns, and Rasa crawls out of his TCU rock with his TCU Horn Frog gear on. Is like, I told you.
TCU this week, like I had Air Force was a bigger problem, but TCU, what a dysfunctional effort that was at home against West Virginia. I'll tell you this, if Rager goes 6 for 120 and 2, I'm probably gonna be pretty upset because that I think means that he's playing in the AFL or one of those like video game control leagues. Because I don't see that happening anytime soon in a National Football League. But here's to hoping. Anything else? Man behind the glass, Mike just brought up the betting player prop tool on the screen. As you guys can see, this is where you can go. Just syncs with Odd Chopper to see where does Awesemo's projections, where do we have these guys? Are their values created? And you can toggle between all those tabs, whether it's rushing yards, completions, passing TDs. This is the genesis of how we power this show and all the content on Awesemo Odds. These tools are invaluable and they are 100% free. You don't need a subscription to Awesemo. All we ask is really that you support the show. You hit that like button. This stuff is free. Odd Chopper and these tools, no sign up required.
That's amazing. Val Savage on the chat. Jameis over 16.5 completions. Now I'm going under on his attempts. So I'm going to stay away from that prop because I don't really want to create a window by any means. But would you go at 17.5 to 16.5, depending on the juice? Again, I don't hate going over there, but because I'm locked into the under 25.5, I'm not creating that type of a window.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find 16.5 at anything reasonable in terms of juice, like better than 120-ish, minus 120, that is, I would say probably go for it. I don't know if that's going to be out there. I do lean over. The prop leans over. If the Saints fall behind, that's great. Even if they don't, though, I think Jameis, again, this goes back to Kamara. If you're passing the ball to Kamara 8 to 10 times, you've almost cut that prop in half because those are the most convertible catches that Jameis has. Now, if he's throwing the ball to Traquan Smith 50 yards down the field, you could have some issues, but I have a feeling that this could be a Kamara game where he gives you 7 or 8 receptions. If he does that, now you're asking Jameis to complete, 9 completions to other receivers. I do think that he can and will do that.
All right, let's go shopping,
Let's
friend,
do it.
and see what we can get from Odd Shopper. Of course, this is the place to go wherever you are, and you can sort even by state. So from Arizona to Wyoming with Jersey and PA in between, you can shop by state, and you're going to get the best aggregated number for you, and even sortable by return of investment or the X win percentage. So this is a fantastic tool just for anybody betting across the board, player props, any sport that we have available here. But of course, we're going to focus tonight on the NFL.
And we get this picture every time we do the segment. Now I got to look at that picture of me going shopping with the boys. or girls, I should say.
When was that created?
It was, that's what we do here at Awesemo. We got some talented people behind the glass. So we are going to go shopping. You certainly can find any type of wager that you want here. We got a million choices. But again, one that stands out to me is this Alvin Kamara receptions prop. I loved it at 3.5. I was paying juice. I like it at 4.5 at plus money. I still think that this is the type of guy, if they want to get him involved, and he cratered out. He had no targets in a game. That is truly ridiculous, unheard of. And I think they quickly realized after losing to the Giants, that's just unacceptable. In the next game against Washington, he had 8 targets. He turned that into 5 catches. To me, that's the baseline going forward. I think that we're going to see these numbers grow and grow. We're going to see the Kamara of old. Him and Jameis will get it together. Give me that at plus money. Over 4.5 tonight, one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that, especially because we know that Winston and this offense are going to key a lot with Kamara against this defense. It's just a great matchup. Even if the rain comes, then that's going to be the moving of the ball is going to be shorter if it's running or just quick passes to get the ball in Kamara's hands as opposed to just going deep. I did see, and me, I'm a sucker for a parlay here, but we have the 2-bet prop party parlay available on OddsShopper, and it's a quarterback bonanza, all right? And it's all completions. So if you look at this, it's plus 250, your best return on OddsShopper. The XROI is 81%. The win percentage is 52%. You're going over Winston 16.5 and over Smith 18.5 completions apiece.
So the nice thing about that, in the sense that if you're parlaying the props and you're allowed to do that, you can take things that are somewhat correlated. And in here, you're looking for a game script of just shootout potential. You want a lot of plays to be run. Certainly would gladly take something like overtime. But in general, when you're looking at that, you got both quarterbacks. You want a lot of short, quick passes. You're not looking for 50-yard bombs. They all count the same. I mean, you want these really methodical drives where Geno and Jameis are checking down a ton. If you get that, if the backs give you 5 to 10 receptions, you're going to be there and you're going to get over 2.5 to 1 on that. So many fun things you can do with OddsShopper and these props. This is where you can find those edges each and every week.
I'm just looking to see, Marquez Callaway, for example. We didn't talk a ton about him outside of just the game flow and it being more so with the ball in the hands of Kamara. The over 42.5, the ROI is at 17%, but the win percentage at 61%. So if you are looking for, 3 catches from Callaway could easily put you over that number.
Yeah,
2 catches.
It's going to be, I think for me, it's going to be somewhat wait and see on the outside tonight with the Saints. I don't know exactly what to expect because we've got some situations with Deontay Harris. It looks like he is going to be out. And again, I want to get clarification, but it looks like Tre'Quan Smith is going to play. Yeah. So we're going to have some guys in and out. It's going to be a little different dynamic. Certainly Callaway will be a factor, but it remains to be seen exactly where the target share will fall. The one guy I know is going to be involved is obviously Alvin Kamara.
All right, my friend. It is about that time. And again, just hit OddsShopper. We're going to do this throughout the week, throughout our shows, be able to go to these games because we'll have Monday night, Thursday night, so we can isolate a football game. You never know. I mean, look, there's NBA we can compare, so it may sneak in an NBA player or even a college football where you can compare across the board here. Coastal against Troy coming up.
We got a lot of things. The Knicks lost last night to the Magic. Real good. I thought we were going to go undefeated. Turns out not going undefeated, but there's
Sixers Knicks. That's the next game coming up for you guys.
Look at that. We're going to see what your boys can do. We'll be talking about that Thursday, but let's get into it. Sir, what are you going with?
Well, real quick, was there anything that we missed on the side here? John Shelton locking up the Terps -3. You gonna wait for Thursday on that one?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. I bet Minnesota against Maryland this week. It worked out nicely. Indiana is also just a dumpster fire. So you got 2 bad teams there. I'll tell you the team that's rolling. We don't need to go on a tangent. I would rather play, besides Georgia, I think Ohio State is the team I'd want to avoid the most right now. Ohio State is killing everybody. They get Penn State coming in. I think this could be a world of hurt for Penn State. This is a bad spot. That's why Ohio State's an 18.5-point favorite against Penn State. Who would have thunk that a couple weeks ago?
No, and it's hard to even argue based on how poor they've played on offense. All right, I'm going to go a little outside the box here and give you the lock it up, look ahead teaser of the week. All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Rams are now down. This is only a 7-point teaser, by the way, here. Okay. So we're not going crazy. They're not monster or 10-point, anything like that. This is just a standard 7-point teaser. Okay. Rams are down to 7 on the road at Houston. I'm tempting fate with that number, but the push is in play. Rams down to 7 at Houston. Bengals down to 2.5, under 3 now at New York. And the Chiefs, who I love outright, but the Chiefs are down to -3 against the Giants. Come on, Rasa. You can jump in on this one.
I don't know about that one. I get it. You're shorting some bad teams against some good teams. I'm a little worried about the Bengals this week. I'm not going to lie. It's as if they won the Super Bowl and they're really good. This is a bad spot for them. There's no doubt sleepwalking. Now we got to see what's going on. The Jets, they need their court. I'm not saying Zach Wilson's great, but he's a hell of a lot better than whoever they had in there after that. So we got to keep an eye on that one. Ultimately, you would think these teams will be too much. Rams will it's going to be a long day for Mills. I think we know that. So we're going to dig into that. We'll revisit it on Thursday and we'll see how much value we've created or you've created for yourself. Hopefully those lines move in your favor.
We'll see. No, but the one play tonight is team total under 17.5, but I couldn't resist. I had to sneak
it.
Too early look ahead teaser. That's all. All right.
I'm going to do the same thing as you. I think for tonight, if you want one tonight, it's going to be Alvin Kamara and his receptions. I really like that number. 3.5, 4.5. I don't care. The odds are shifting. Obviously, you're going to get plus money if you take the more aggressive one. But I did this on Thursday night. I gave out 2 lock-it-ups, and knock on wood, they both worked out because the Browns finally did something. I'm going to give you a look-ahead line, and it may be a trap, but I am sticking with this team till the wheels fall off. Kentucky Wildcats, the disrespect that these lines makers, they are a 1-point favorite, and in some spots, it's pick 'em against Mississippi State on Saturday. I don't care. I don't care that they're going on the road. Kentucky is a good team, and people do not give this team the respect that they deserve. They can run the ball. They have a fantastic quarterback. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator from the Rams, has transformed this offense. They lost to Georgia in Georgia. I mean, what is there to say about that? That means nothing. I actually thought they played okay, despite the score. Georgia's the best team in the country. Mississippi State is not on this level. I know it's in Starkville. I know it feels trappy. I jumped on the line immediately. So I'm locking it up that Kentucky's going to end up beating this team. And I don't understand this line whatsoever.
Wow. -1 at Mississippi State. I like it. You've been hot on Kentucky. No reason to fade by any means.
I'll leave you with this. This has nothing to do with the show, but you will appreciate this more than anything. There are 2 teams in all of college football of the 130 teams that have not yet covered this year. One is Clemson.
Bulldogs or the other?
The other one is Missouri. And I think I have bet Missouri. I think I might have bet them every single week.
I thought you were going to go Mississippi State.
Nope. It's Missouri.
Wait a second. Wasn't there was just a team who was 0-6 ATS coming into.
Maybe they covered. Probably Arizona.
Oh, you know what? It might have been Arizona who covered.
Yeah, they covered against Washington this week.
That's right. All right, brother. Appreciate it. And hopefully everybody out there has written down everything that we've given you. Don't worry. It's all back here if you want to rewind. I see Linquist in the chat throwing some picks out here as well. So we appreciate it when the crew is thick as it is on the Awesemo betting channel. Hit that thumbs up. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. As Rasa told you, we're so close to 2K, and there are going to be some great things happening on this channel to celebrate that, as there are more and more opportunities for you to get content and just be more informed. Betting You every Wednesday with Rasa and Gajeski. So there's a ton of things happening. Thursday, we'll be back Sunday morning with Pete and Ben. The channel is loaded. Absolutely loaded. Anything else I forget?
Well said, my friends. Follow us on Twitter at JazzRazDFS, at Shander Show. Thanks to Mike behind the glass. So good luck tonight. Enjoy that game. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Go Bengals.
Go Bengals. Sure. Why not?